Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Micah Foster, and you are listening to or watching From the Garoffice with Micah Foster. And today I have a great conversation with two youth pastors who are part of the Life.Church campuses. One's in Wichita, Kansas, and one is in Texas. And together they run the Switch gaming channel on Twitch. So we have a lot of great nuggets in there that they brought out of things that they're trying and doing to reach students for Christ. And I'd love it if you would give this a listen. Listen all the way through, even if you do double the speed, which I do to every podcast I listen to, and share it with someone you think that it would be valuable for. It could be valuable to a parent, a ministry leader, a pastor, a youth pastor, anybody you think would enjoy it. God bless you and enjoy the conversation. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm in my Garoffice talking to you guys. You guys are far from me today. I'm in California and you guys are in different time zones. So thanks for making the time today in your late day for me. But I'd love to hear how you guys at Life.Church and the campuses and the youth ministry are utilizing digital. But before we kind of get into all that, just give me a quick introduction of yourselves, your context, what's going on in your ministry and life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Casey, you want to go first?
My name is Casey Holloway. Yeah. My name's Casey, and I have been a youth pastor now with Life.Church for almost going on 3 years. I grew up in church. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm actually from the South. So I'm a youth pastor now in Texas, but originally from Oklahoma. And so I got plugged into Life.Church growing up. Actually found Jesus in Life.Church when I was in college, my senior year of college. Felt called to ministry. So my degree is in criminal justice with an emphasis in homicide. And so I thought I was going to be solving crime. But God called me into ministry. And so I went and studied overseas at Hillsong Bible College for a couple years and then came back home and got the privilege and honor of being on staff here at Life.Church. And I've been at Fort Worth for about over a year and a couple of months now. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about my story.
Awesome.
Come on. Yeah, my name's Quinton Porter. I am our youth pastor at our Life.Church West Wichita location. I'm coming up on 3 years, just like Casey, on staff. I had the privilege of growing up in Switch, which is our youth ministry. So ever since I was in sixth grade, so like 11 or 12, got to grow up in Switch. And now I get to lead Switch, which is just super cool opportunity to do. I'm originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where I went to school. I went to community college for a semester and a half, and then got asked to move up to Wichita to be an associate youth pastor, actually on the east side of Wichita. And then coming up on a year in April will be how long I've been the youth pastor here at West Wichita. So got to grow up in Life.Church, be a part of the culture, and now get to lead it and lead alongside Casey is super awesome.
That's awesome. And you guys, how about family? You guys got family, wives, kids? What's going on there?
I am getting a wife in just about 3 months. So praise God. It's been been a journey. So I popped the ring, popped the question, asked her, and so we got engaged in December. And so we are getting married in April. So I'm 26 years old too. I forgot to mention that. And so I am ready to find my partner to do ministry with. So yeah. So good.
Quinton, I saw there was no ring when you clapped, right? So you're still on the
ring.
Still on the single train.
Yeah, so no ring, no fiance. I'm single. I'm at 22. I'll be 23 this year, so I'm on the younger side of our youth pastors. And so I have a twin sister. She's going to college in Edmond, Oklahoma. So twin sister. My parents, they all live in Tulsa, and so yeah.
So being like in your mid to late 20s, right, in youth ministry, that means, and in 2021, that means you guys get to hang out with students virtually right now a lot. So just tell me, how have you guys been innovating over the past year as a lot of things have gone digital and including a lot of ministry? I know you've been doing digital stuff for a long time, but what's the newest kind of iteration of that innovation?
Yeah, so we got the awesome privilege to, with Life.Church, we have been innovating for years,
Right.
but our youth ministry honestly hasn't been very innovative. Most of our youth ministry has been based around in-person experiences and stuff like that. So when the pandemic hit, our heart and mission went to, well, how can we continue to reach students to become fully devoted followers of Christ, right? And we have this amazing platform that we already have built called Church Online.
Right.
And so what we got to do was we got to innovate that and create that and carry it over to our youth experience. And so now we have something called Switch Online. So it's switchonline.life.church. And so it's a youth experience that's online. So you get to hear worship, you get to play the game, you get to hang out with your small group. And what's so cool about this and what we did not expect, we expected to reach our students that were already coming to Switch, right? But what we did not expect was to reach hundreds and thousands of other students. And what we have saw over the past 4 months since Switch Online has even been a thing is that we have seen almost 121 different countries come to Switch Online. And to put that in perspective, for those that don't know, is there's 168, I think, countries in the world. So we just had a meeting, we just got out of one, and it was talking about that we had 3 computers on in Hong Kong that was tuning into our Switch Online experience last week, from Quebec, like just from all around the world. And it's such a cool, unique opportunity where we get to, we're not just a campus ministry now, but we're a global youth ministry. And that's one of my favorite parts and what I'm so excited about for what Switch Online. And attached to that, and I'll kind of let Q talk about what comes under Switch Online. We have tons of different ways that we're innovating within Switch Online also. And so Q can touch on those a little bit.
Yeah, so under Switch Online, I don't know how long ago it was. It was super recently that we took over. We actually had a Twitch channel called Life.Church Gaming that would stream the messages like every Sunday. It would just be like another church online, but specifically for like gamers, for people who were on Twitch and they were like searching. And so Switch, our youth ministry, recently took that over. And it's been really cool. So now that we've brought Switch Online to Twitch, our Twitch channel is Switch Online. And so we stream on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And we do like big tournaments and stuff on Fridays. But just being able to leverage like different video games like Valorant, Among Us, Call of Duty, Rocket League, different video games to reach students. Like me and Casey will hang out on a Thursday night and just play video games. Some of our students from campuses will hop on and join us. But then we have a lady from the Cayman Islands who tunes into like every single one of our streams. And our heart behind it, our mission for Twitch is to lead gamers to become fully devoted followers of Christ. When we look at the gaming world, it's not necessarily the most like uplifting and a happy community that there is. And so what we get to do is bring positivity, to bring a Christian community to the gaming world, where we'll break down our Switch Online messages on Thursdays. Casey and I just call it Theology Thursday, where we take the questions from the message, we'll talk about it, but then we open it up to the chat. Like if you have any questions about like Christianity, the Bible, God, or like dating questions, any just random questions that we can bring in any wisdom or insight to, is super cool. And so that's been one of the ways that like it's just within like the last 12 months, like with COVID and stuff, that we've also been able to innovate.
Wow. So you said a few things that I was like, all right, I want to know more about that. I want to hear more about that. So one of them was, let's just back up. You said play the games.
Yeah. So I'm a big Call of Duty guy. I love Call of Duty. And so we have a Discord that people can join into. There's places for them to type prayer requests, or if they're looking for someone to play a game. There's voice chats where they can just like come in and talk with people. And then we have a voice chat for whenever we're live, with the people that we're playing it with can actually like come in, talk with us, talk with the stream. But a big part is just the stream chat. Like you can see the different people who are typing their usernames. We have a dedicated host team who is specifically there to create a warm and welcoming environment for every single person who tunes into our stream, like making sure that we're welcoming people, that we're getting them in the Discord, that people feel seen, that they feel known. And so just things like that, super practical, like seeing someone in the chat that's like, oh, I have Call of Duty, or I have Valorant, I want to play, and we'll like run some custom games with them.
Cool. And then as for like small group, you said people are joining in, they're hanging out with their small group virtually for Switch Online. So how does that work? Are there like breakout rooms, or how do you send them out like teachers do these days in Zoom, but
Yeah.
it's on your platform, or what?
Yeah. So our platform does not host small groups, but what happens is if I am a 11th grade boy from Zimbabwe and I want to get plugged into a small group, well, we have a 7th grade boys small group that's being led by somebody in the world. We have leaders from all the way from Australia all the way to Canada that lead different age groups, and so we just get them plugged into are one of those groups, whatever it is. And so most of them are great. They're all gender specific. Most of them are
Yeah,
grade specific.
sure.
Not all of them are super strict on the grades, but and then we also are blessed too with most of our campuses are open back up. But so those, for example, let's say I'm the youth pastor at Fort Worth, and one of my small groups has to miss for a week because one of their kids tested positive for COVID, right? And so they have to miss out and quarantine for 2 weeks. Well, they can still attend Switch Online. It's the exact same message that they would get in person, and then they can jump on a Zoom call or a FaceTime call or Snapchat. Like that's the thing with technology now, is there are a million different ways to have face-to-face interactions, whether it's on Zoom, Skype, whatever it is, Microsoft Teams. And so, yeah, that's how they're meeting. Most of them are through Zoom. Some do FaceTime. Some might even do Snapchat. And so, yeah.
There's not just one way that a small group meets. It's whatever's best for the leader and the people in
Absolutely.
that
Whatever
group.
fits.
Now you said a 7th grade boy from Zimbabwe or whatever. Is this a real example, or did you just pull Zimbabwe out of nowhere?
So I actually, one of my leaders in Wichita partners with one of Casey's leaders in Fort Worth and has someone from like Africa, Singapore, and so another country. So 3 different countries represented. They do Zoom calls on Sunday night. So my leader is one of our drummers. So he'll be done drumming on like a Sunday and then is like on his phone talking to his Switch Online small group, literally like in Zimbabwe.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you guys, now it's a big ministry. You've got a lot of exposure with Life.Church, but are you also like running social ads to create awareness, or is it all sort of naturally driven? Like, how do people discover you from Zimbabwe?
Yeah, so we have one, natural momentum is our best tool, right? I mean, Life.Church has been around since, we just celebrated 25 years. And so our church online team, right, where they see hundreds of thousands of people every single week on their church online platform, have talked about, hey, we have a youth ministry also, and we'd love to get your student plugged in wherever you're at in the world. But we don't run, very rarely do we ever run ads. Because we always say this is that our greatest invite or our greatest ad is an invite. And so that's our culture here is when we bring in leaders and we bring in students, we teach them that we are going to be unapologetically inviting people to come to church. And that's just kind of who we are. And that's how we are. We're an evangelistic church. And so we want to invite. And so that's just something that we push on our leaders. Anyone that comes in our Twitch channel, we're always like, hey, we will be live on Tuesday at 7:00. Invite your friends, and we even do giveaways sometimes. Like whoever brings the most friends, man, we got this cool Switch shirt.
Right.
We'll mail it to you.
Right.
So it's just natural.
Yeah. And I know for like specifically getting into like internet searches, there's like keywords or stuff that will pop up. Like if you I don't know what exactly are, but if I looked up like youth ministry online, then Switch Online might pop up. But one thing that has been really big for us recently, believe it or not, is TikTok. So Casey will post one. He's got a leader who has a decent following. And like, if you post a TikTok and Casey will be like, hey, we're playing some games, come hang out. And he'll post like the link on the screen. A large portion of our audience recently has actually come from TikTok to join us on Twitch.
Cool. So is there a Twitch TikTok account, or is it just leader accounts that you're using?
No, so we have just one for our entire youth ministry Switch. It's called LC Switch. It's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the different socials.
And then, so do you guys go live on there ever?
We will every once in a while. So the thing is our Switch Online represents 36 other campuses, right? And so Switch on Twitch and even Switch Online is just a small portion of Twitch. So we don't get a lot of airtime. We can every once in a while. But I have gone live on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, Quinton's personal Instagram, my personal TikTok and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, like my heart is to preach the gospel, right? And so I don't need a personal brand. I don't care about a personal brand. If you go to my TikTok, it's all about gaming and building the church. And so that's about the only time we have gone live before, Quinton, like especially when the pandemic was like really big. Like in last March and April, we were going live almost every day. But what we saw was we had high traffic at the start, and then it started to dwindle down every time, and it just becomes mundane, and it's just kind of white noise. And so we are like super strategic now on when we go live. So if we go live on Instagram, like it's really important, and you want to go check it out, right? Because we haven't been live in 3 months, and so something's up. So that's kind of our strategy behind when we go live. And we have a social team that their job is to run our social media accounts, like our Life.Church ones and stuff like that. So
Right. You guys are the face of the Switch gaming,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you two are the face, right? Do you interact with people? And a lot of people struggle with this kind of stuff. This is actually the thing that holds people up from going into these things and trying to reach people for Christ. Is they're scared of people haters. They're scared of the hard questions, or they're scared of what people are going to say and do, and how to handle that, under an audience. There's people watching you. So what is your guys' like strategy for that? If you get someone who's just being obnoxious or whatever, just what do you do about it?
Yeah, no, that's good.
We get it almost every stream we go live. We'll get people in there that are trolls, is what the Gen Z calls them. They're trolls, and they're trying to get a reaction or something like that. But my heart is like, at the end of the day, that's who we're trying to reach, right? Because if I go back to high school, I was the troll. I was the one in church that was causing all the issues, and I'm the one who needed extended grace all the stinking time. And it was because leaders never gave up on me. And that's why I'm a pastor today. It's because people that just continue to believe in me and to pour into me. And the reason that we started all this too, Pastor Micah, is because I was reminded of the story of Eutychus and Acts, and it talks about the young boy that was in top of the church, and Paul was preaching, and he fell asleep and fell out of church, right?
Right.
And I was just reminded that as a church that we are so sick and tired of seeing young people fall out of church. So we have to do something different, right? We have to mix things up. And so if that means a couple trolls coming in every once in a while, we'll handle them. We'll deal with them. I mean, if they're like obviously being obnoxious and saying the F word and like, being absolutely ridiculous, then we can put a ban on them. But we always try to lead with grace. And we answer really hard questions. I think last Thursday or 2 Thursdays ago, we had a kid that was just asking, like, prove to me God's real. Like prove to me, like right now, prove to me, how do I know he's real? And so we continued the conversation offline. I gave him my personal number, and I was like, bro, text me. Let's continue the conversation. And so we've been texting back and forth for a week. And so, man, I'm always just lean on the side of, that's who we're trying to reach at the end of the day. We're trying to reach those trolls or those angry people. And so we're going to extend grace. We're going to love them, and we're going to continue to push the mission forward.
I love that.
And real quick, before I jump on that, we actually had a kid switch online, and he was actually, I don't know how he found our channel. First off, it had to be God, but he was searching porn is what he was searching for.
Oh, wow.
And somehow came across Switch Online. He caught the tail end of our Switch Online message, which points people to our Twitch channel. And he joined our Twitch channel, and now he is he almost every stream he's in the chat. And that's what it's about, because it's easy for us to give up on him or not, oh, he's just a troll, we're moving on. But that's who we want to continue to reach. And he's in like literally three times a week. So
Wow,
Yeah.
someone's dropping some words in your keywords to help people search for
Hey,
the
Come
right
on.
so,
things.
hey, I'll even say this. Back in our old days of Life.Church, we would actually buy ads, Google ads for pornography. And when someone searched pornography, Life.Church would pop up on the side. And so we've been known to do that. So, but yeah.
Well, Life Church was the church, right? That was the first VR church, really. I don't even remember what the service was called or what the world was, but it was like
Yeah.
you guys had a church service in this VR world. Man, I wish I
Yeah.
could remember the name of that. It was like an online community. People hung out in there,
Uh-huh.
and it was a dark place. And
Yeah.
and you could go into your digital building and sit and watch a screen of the message and the worship and everything. So yeah, this goes back,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say when it comes to trolls and different people, oftentimes I think you can understand like people's intentions, like if you really just discern and stuff. Um, I've heard it said, and you probably have too, that like hurt people.
Right.
And there's a level to like trolling and orneriness in different things. And so like we'll address it on screen, let people know like, hey, we're not going to do that. We're not going to talk about that. Because the last thing we want to do is like ban someone from being able to interact with our community. Like that's the last resort. And so we'll pull people into like private conversations. We have a team of people who serve and are like solely responsible for that. Like Casey and I aren't PR trained. Like we're just two youth pastors who love Jesus and love students. And so like we welcome questions. I think it's important to like use discernment to know like, should I answer this question like in front of like this large group of people, or is this
Uh-huh.
better in like a one-on-one conversation? Because at the end of the day, like we have a mission that we're pointing towards, and when trolls come in, they can kind of try to direct like attention away from your sole mission, which is the most important thing. And so it's all just like a bunch of discernment. I think you learn over time, and at the end of the day, like at least they're watching you, they're interacting with your content than doing something else.
Right, right. So tell me, what are like some of the biggest repeated questions you're getting from these people who are coming in, jumping in to your streams?
Yeah, no, I think we had really great questions. A lot of them will pertain to the message that was just shown
Okay,
before.
yeah.
So a lot of them will be, so this week we are testing the waters because we're going to be talking about sex this week, right? For the month of February, we're talking about living a life of sexual purity in a crazy world that we live in. And so I know most of our questions will be directed towards that. Like,
Right.
and I even know Quinton was streaming last Thursday, and they got to kind of start that ball rolling with the sexual purity. And so Quinton was just talking about what it looks like in his life as a single man, what is sexual purity. And then one of our other streamers is getting married in a couple days or a couple weeks. And so what's it look like when you're engaged and having that purity? So a lot of times they will be directed towards what the message was about. And then other times, like last week, this kid just came in and kind of started trolling, but was asking questions. Like he was really intrigued with the concept of God and Christ and Jesus. And so
Uh-huh.
we just got to interact with him and got to talk with him. And sometimes he would throw a troll comment out there, but we would always bring it back to who we believe God is and what God has done for us in our lives. And so most of the questions are directed though towards the message that was just shown. And so
I mean, they're sticking around. They're watching, they're
yeah,
listening, and then they're interacting with what you're actually talking about. It's it's
yeah,
usually not random.
no, it's very rarely.
Not
I mean,
very often.
we will get people in there every once in a while that'll ask random stuff, but it's very very people stick around, man. People, I mean, we have a great community. Like the same people will show up almost every single week. Like this is their small group, right? And
Uh-huh.
that's what we want it to be. It's like a small group, and so we don't average. I mean, we're not in the hundreds or anything like that. And honestly, we don't really care about numbers, to be quite honest. If we get 3 students in there, that's 3 students that we're reaching. And so at the end of the day, that's really all that matters to us. So it really is like a small group.
That's really interesting. What I've noticed with digital ministry of all kinds is that the amount is way less important than when you're like in a physical space. When you're in a physical space, you're like feeding off the feeling of how many people are in the room and all that kind of stuff. But when you're not, when you're a screen and your cameras and you're just chatting and stuff. I've heard many people say like, I don't care about the number in the corner as long as it's not zero, you know?
Right.
As long as it's not zero, then I'm having a worthwhile exchange with someone that could change their life. So is it, I mean, have you noticed that also?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, always when you stream, like I'm at my house, this is where I stream from. Casey's at his apartment. You can see when we stream, you can see the viewer count, but like I'm not like if it's 50, if it's 5, either way, same thing. Because at the end of the day, each person, like each one of those numbers represents a person, and each one of those people like matters to God and they matter to us. And so there could be 500 people in the stream. Awesome. Am I going to be probably very excited? Probably, but I'm still going to engage and interact with a chat of 5 as I would of 500 or stuff like that. Like at the end of the day, like Casey said, we don't care about numbers, but what we're here to do is just reach students for Jesus.
So when you're streaming, do you guys have like different shows, or how do you do that? Do you consider it like a network that you've got different show times and different things?
Yeah. So we have a schedule. So every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And so we have a rotation of people. So me and Casey rotate every other Thursday. One of us will be streaming. The other one will be like commentating in a Discord call, like talking about the message, playing games. And then we have volunteers who stream the other days, and they take off and they do the exact same thing. We all just play different games. We're each a different like personality, if you will. Like I'm a different personality than Casey is, but that's how God built us. We have one guy named Jacob who is just like super exciting, fun, hilarious, like literally put on like some weird costume, like randomly on a stream. But that's him, and that's his personality. And that's what he does at his like Tuesday at 7 stream.
Are you giving the message while you're gaming? I mean, is that how does that work?
Yeah, so usually the message is on our switchonline.life.church.
Okay.
So the message plays this usually an hour before our stream starts, right?
Okay.
So on Sunday at 6 o'clock is the message. And then on Tuesday at 6 o'clock is also the message. And then it ends, and then people come over to our Twitch channel, because at the end of the message, people, our hosts that are hosting Switch Online, they always push in, hey, Switch Online, over on Twitch, let's continue this conversation.
So when they jump on from watching, they're jumping on and they're seeing you guys are one of the volunteers, and you're playing a game and talking about stuff. Is that how that works?
Usually to start the stream off, it will just be a face cam with chat to the left, and we will be super strategic on like the first 30 minutes of this stream is just going to be talking about the message. I'll often bring Quinton's face cam on, and so me and him are both on screen, and then we're just talking back and forth, and then engaging chat. So what do you think? What was your point that really stood out to the message? And then me and Quinton will talk, and then we'll engage chat, and then we will start the game, usually whatever we're playing, and then we can continue that conversation while we're playing. We usually don't play with random people on stream, because you never know what you're going to get. And we got teenagers in the stream, so we want to make sure that. So we are usually very strategic on who we play with. But we usually stream and play the game, and we'll continue it. But the first 30 minutes is always directed to continuing that conversation.
Oh, okay, cool. So as a father of 3, okay, I've got an 11-year-old, actually 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So 3, they're little, right? My 11-year-old is definitely, I mean, he's Fortnite 100%.
Yeah. Come on. Me too,
all day if he could be. Like he's on the Switch. He just ordered a new monitor and a capture card. I mean, he's in, right? So he's serious. I'm always like aware that he's playing with strangers a lot of times, that not everybody's nice, that there's not a natural filter in the game that will protect him. And so we have to have a lot of conversations about, you know, if they're not saying things that you shouldn't be thinking about, talking about, all that kind of stuff, you need to exit. You need to all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a big struggle, right, with parents. It's like, how much
Absolutely.
screen time should I give them?
Yeah.
How do I protect them from, the ogres out there or the
Yeah.
trolls or whatever? How do I protect my kids, and how do I help them be good digital citizens? So
Yeah.
what is your strategy in maybe equipping parents or helping parents
Yeah.
in this?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
to start off, I would say have a conversation with your child, right, or your student, is the most important thing. Your child or student is going to listen to you way before they're going to listen to anybody else. So have that conversation with your students. The next thing I will say was embrace what they're passionate about and love. And I know a lot of parents are not going to agree and like that, but I will say video games are not going away, right?
Yeah.
It is where they're headed. I read an article the other day that is like, I think it was 78% of teens play video games on a daily basis. 78, and that's boys and girls, right? And so like this is where they're headed. So let's embrace it and let's build the railing as we go. And that railing can be those conversations that you have with your child about, hey, like when people are cussing, like go ahead and leave the match, like or whatever that looks like. And if you have to like, and here's what I'm saying too is don't, like, I'm not saying you can't have limits, like you can't have screen time limits or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But if this is what they're passionate about, I would say, man, lean into that, because here's the thing: video games aren't going anywhere. And I'm not saying that your kid is going to be a pro at video games. They might be. I don't know.
Right.
But what I will say is that that's where they're leaning towards. So lean into those conversations and have those conversations. But there's also people that do it right? There are not just our stream, right? There are tons of different pastors in churches or clean content that they can watch and lean into and embrace. And churches are starting to jump on the gaming platform. Another church that does it really well is Elevation Church. We're really good friends with their youth pastor there, and we have partnered with them, and they do it over on YouTube, because that's where students are at too, is on YouTube. And so like there are people out there that do it right and do it well, and just to have those conversations. And Quinton, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I'd even say like Gen Z is such a different, like such a technology based generation, right? And so as like parents, like you don't know what you don't know. And what I love is that there are resources out there available to tell you what the heck Twitch is,
Mm.
to look up like different things at like TikTok or stuff that you can gain knowledge and wisdom on, to even know what the heck your kids are engaging with. Because if you don't know, like you'll just be clueless, and one day you'll be surprised, like, oh my gosh, what in the heck are you watching?
Right.
And so knowing your students, knowing what they're engaging in. At Life.Church, we partner with an organization called Axis, and they have amazing parent guides. They have one about Twitch that, like, if a parent comes to me and is asking, it was like, okay, well, here's a great resource. Like, you can go study up, talk to your kid about it. Like, who are they watching on Twitch? Are they watching a really good, clean streaming community, or are they watching one of the more negative sides? And that allows you to have open conversations with your students. And like Casey said, I think embracing what they're passionate about is huge. At the end of the day, screen time is great. Like if that's what you need to do, limit your screen time, but embrace what your kid's passionate about. If they're passionate about playing video games, play a video game with them. Sit down and watch a stream with them. Like make that an ongoing and open conversation with them.
I heard this too that really changed my perspective one time is I would never go into Italy, right, and crap on their culture, like just destroy their culture and do things that is offensive to them. And I think a lot of parents are going into our teenagers' lives and just destroying what they're passionate about, their culture. And so embrace their culture and love their culture. You don't have to understand it, but start to lean into those conversations. I think a lot of us are stepping into teenagers' life and going, well, why are you on Instagram, or why are you on TikTok, or why do you watch somebody play a video game? That's so dumb. And like that's offensive to them, because that's their livelihood and that's what their friends are doing. And so to step into that culture and to learn about why is this cool? Why do I watch somebody play? Why is TikTok such a big deal? And so I would encourage parents to really step into their teenager's life and really ask those questions on, so tell me about this video game. Why is Fortnite such a big deal? Like, teach me what you're doing. And and just to learn with them.
Yeah.
Awesome. I agree with you guys on that stuff. What was that organization, Quentin? You said Access or Axis?
Axis, AXIS. They're an organization. They're wonderful. They put together different conversation kits, parents guides over like all the popular topics of things going on in the world. Different music, like movies, Netflix, TV shows.
Sure. Yeah.
Wonderful organization.
Awesome.
I will say, as a youth pastor, I literally use that every day. Like I have parents calling me all the time, and if any of people watching this want information or anything, they can email us and we can print them off specific parent guides. Like I used it this week with a teenager that is or a mom that's teenager struggling with pornography, and they have a whole parent kit on how to have that conversation in a healthy way.
Absolutely amazing.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so great. So you said that if anybody's listening, they could email you. Would you be willing to give them an email that they could?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm passionate about, it's casey.holloway@life.church, 918-864-0250. I'll give my number out to anybody.
There you go. Is that is that a personal cell or is that one of those community numbers?
That is this cell phone right here. It is. I am passionate about being available to people because I love people.
Hey, speaking of cell phones, tell me your thoughts on Clubhouse.
No, I think I've heard of it. I guess. I'm not well versed in whatever the heck that is.
All right. Well, I thought you might be looking at it. It's new social media, right? It's invite only. Okay. It's audio only. So it's like audio. Think about like a conference, right? You got a conference, you got a bunch of breakout rooms. You walk down the convention center halls or the big church halls or wherever you are, and there's all these different conference rooms. You see the title on the door, you jump in, you sit in a row, you listen. Well, it's the same thing, only it's in an app. You go in, you see the titles of the rooms. You can jump into any live room, and there's sort of there's a virtual stage. So the people who created the room could be on the stage, and they can invite people up to talk with them. And there's just audience members who are just listening. If you raise your hand, they may invite you to come up on the stage, ask a question, engage in the conversation. So it's a new kind of way to...
This is called Clubhouse?
Clubhouse, yeah.
Listen, I love being culturally relevant because that's where students are at. So I literally will check it out as soon as we get off this call.
I think
I heard about it on YouTube, I think, or something. Oh, okay. But I don't know enough about it to give an opinion.
All right. I'm right now I'm asking everybody I'm talking to because everybody's kind of got a different take on what they think, if they're going to jump on it or if they see a relevance for their ministry or things like that. At this point, I don't see teenagers on there. So, but doesn't mean they won't be. Right. So
anyway. I would say one of our core values here at Life.Church is we'll do anything short of sin to reach people who do not have Jesus. And in order to reach people nobody's reaching, we have to do things nobody's doing. And so if that's a way to engage people into the gospel, then freaking jump on it and go, right? So that's what I say. But I don't know what the app is though. So
yeah, no, it's not visual at all. There's no real pictures or anything. There's no videos. It's all live audio. So it's almost like every room you jump in is like a live podcast, which they can't be recording unless it's in the title and they tell you that you're recording, which you could do, but it's sort of all these different breakout rooms. So you guys continue to innovate. You're continuing to do things. You're continuing to see success in different areas. How do you measure when something is past, when you need to let a piece of something you're trying out go? Have you had any of those that you guys have been a part of?
That's a great question. I can't think of anything on the top of my head of anything that Casey and I were directly have been a part of that was something that just flopped.
I mean, we try new things, I think, as a church all the time. And I think, if you're not trying and failing, I would say you're probably not trying hard enough. And so, but to more directly answer your question, I would ask yourself, do you feel like you have influence? Are you influencing people? Even if that person is one person right now, or if that's 100 people, ask yourself if you're being influential. Because I think in our mindset as youth pastors in 2020, it was like, what are our wins? Like, I do not know what a win looks like for me or my ministry right now. Like, I can't gauge numbers. I can't gauge involvement with leaders or students. Like, I just don't know if I'm winning as a youth pastor. And I heard someone say, one of our other youth pastors just say, well, are you being influential? And I go, well, yeah, I feel like I'm being influential. And he's like, well, that's the win right there. And so I would just lean in, especially in times like 2020 or 2021 now. It feels like it's still 2020 sometimes.
Right.
But
Right.
I would just ask yourself, are you being influential? And if the answer is yes, I would encourage you to keep trekking, to keep leaning into it, and to not give up yet. And so that would be my thing.
Well, man, this has been really fun. You guys have given me a lot of great stuff to share with people, ministry leaders, parents, pastors, all kinds of people who are trying things, and some encouragement there at the end to keep plugging away if you're finding yourself influential. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Well, I really want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, for spending some time this afternoon with me. I hope God continues to bless your ministry, 1,000-fold, and you see tons of new students come to Christ. That is the heart of what you do. So thank you for doing that, for being innovative and reaching new kids, man.
Thank you so much for having us. Like Casey said, if you have questions or just want to shoot something off a wall and get a response, you can email me too. It's just Quinton.Porter@Life.Church, first dot last name. And my phone's also open, 316-202-6646. I think it's easy to think that we're all like doing this by ourselves, but at the end of the day, we're in this together. When we look at the life of Jesus, he had his 12 disciples, and we get to have each other to push forward. So thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. And just know Life.Church is in your guys' corner. We love you guys. Two city churches, right? I don't want to pronounce
Two Cities Church.
wrong.
Yep.
Two Cities Church, dude. Honestly, like, we are so passionate about the capital C Church, and we love you guys. In any way that you need anything from us at all, we're willing to help out. So we love you guys, and I appreciate you guys having us on.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks again for joining in and listening in on that conversation. Share it with someone that you know and love who needs to hear it, a parent who needs some encouragement on how to help their students, or a youth pastor or a pastor struggling with digital ministry, or why to do digital ministry. Man, can you imagine students from all over the world attending your student ministry, learning what it's like to follow Jesus and being loved and discipled in Christ? Come on, guys. We need to get on board. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode.